Hi, I'm Curtis Thompson and welcome to 320 Workshops. Today I'd like to give you a tour of my tool cabinet. About 5 or 6 years ago, I decided that I had enough planes and hand tools that they really deserved to be in a box of their own to help protect them and keep them all in one place. So decades ago, there was a poster put out, I think by Fine Woodworking, of this toolbox. There was an incredible amount of stuff in there. They were all intertwined. And I always remembered that. But I had found right before this a book on the H.O. Studley toolbox, which was the box that I was remembering. This is the book. It came from Lost Art Press. It's called Virtuoso, the Tool Cabinet and Workbench of Henry O. Studley. It's still available and I highly recommend it if you're interested in a unique way of building a toolbox. So Mr. Studley was a piano and organ maker. He died in 1925, but he had built this magnificent toolbox that had all these tools in it. Now, one thing that he had was he had a complete set of tools that he was building the box for. There was no room for expansion, which is something that I did want. The other thing he had in his box was a lot of things were moved to get to other things. And while that intrigued me and I really kind of wanted to do that, it wasn't really what I felt like I should have in my working toolbox. It didn't work for me. So this is my version of that. It's designed in the front to look like his, as an homage to his toolbox. However, he had one door, I have two doors. His box, let me see here, was 19 and a half by 39 by 10 inches. And mine is 26 and a half wide, 31 inches tall, and 12 inches deep. So mine is significantly larger than his, but his held a whole lot more tools than mine. So, this is my toolbox. So here's how I had my cabinet laid out prior to these latest changes. You can see it's not bad, but as you watch through this video, you'll see how I made changes to make the box more efficient for how I use my tools and a better overall look. It's organized basically in 3 sections. This door has mostly measuring tools. This is mostly planes, and this is mostly chisels and cutting tools. So when I designed it, I wanted to be able to change. Each of these doors are built with a piece of plywood that I've veneered, and then everything can be attached from the back. So when I rebuilt this box in the last couple months, I took these panels out, took all the holders off, reorganized the tools the way I wanted them, reattached them, and then put them back in. And I did that on both doors, and I'll talk about some of the changes I made here in the chisel or the plane section as well. So, as you can see, I have some rulers and angle tools, some marking gauges. Most of these are newer. The problem with old vintage measuring tools is sometimes they're not square, or they're a little bit off. They've been dented or banged up, so they're a little bit more difficult to make sure they're accurate. So I do kind of have preferred new ones. I do have an old Miller's Falls bevel gauge. And then I have this old square that I like. I spent hours getting this accurate square, so I really kind of like this one. It didn't fit into the door, so it did kind of migrate into the inside of the cabinet. But again, sometimes I had to work things in. I have some gimbals here that aren't really measuring tools, but this is where they fit the best. I have my plane wax down here, which isn't a measuring tool, but it fit there and worked well. The other tool that I like is this antique, or it's not antique, but an old gasket scraper. It's a automotive tool, but I like it as a pry bar and a scraper, and it works really, really well in remodeling furniture and that type of thing. So, sorry to interrupt, but I want to talk to you about an upcoming video starring this ugly chair. It's got some odd proportions, a really cheap looking upholstery job, and it's just kind of odd looking, but it's a recliner and it's very comfortable too. So what we're going to do is clean this up, reupholster it, add a little something special to it, and make this something to be proud to have in your home. If that sounds good to you, don't forget, like and subscribe. Inside the box, we have the saw till, which is kind of from a Rob Cosman design. It tilts out and then you can pull the saws out. I have all the mechanism that keeps it from falling out, hidden inside. I've got a flush cutting saw, my fret saw, and then we get into the chisels. This was the original in the box. These are all Lee Nielsen. Here is a shooting board, a 4.5, a 5 low angle, and a number 8. This is my father's block plane, and I have a little corner plane in behind there as well. Then a year or so ago, I acquired a couple more planes. So this Bridge City plane needed a place to live, as well as did this small Bridge City. And then I put my shoulder planes in here. They were kind of original to the box. But most recently, what I wanted to do is I wanted to add my more vintage tools. These planes, a 3, a 4, and a 5 1/4. Now the 5 1/4 I've got within the last year, and I will tell you that this is one of the most underrated planes I think out there. 5 1/4. My understanding is these were originally made for workshop classes, and they were smaller for smaller students, so that weren't as heavy. What I find is though, because it's narrower, when I'm planing, say a 3/4 inch or a 1 inch board, this is plenty wide and it's a lot lighter, and it doesn't have the tendency to rock, and I can plane a little bit more square. I really like this, and I think it's very underrated. I also have 2 Veritas skew planes here with the fences mounted up here. I have a little box plow plane, again, Veritas. This is the only one that really significantly have to move one tool to get to another, because behind that is a chisel plane. So neither of those do I use a whole lot, so that it's okay that they're a little bit awkward to get to. The drawers were all original to the box. I have this drawer is my dovetail cutting tools. I like to be able to take it out, set it on the bench when I'm working, and then it fits back in. You might be wondering what these unique looking drawer pulls are. They are actually the window locks from my first house, and I've cleaned them up and made door handles out of them. These drawers down here contain different, this one has drill bits in it, quilted maple sides, some dovetailed edges, and these are all, it's hard to tell, but it's all grain matched. Kind of, again, going a little bit the extra mile on those. My carver's mallet is one I made several years ago. I made several until I got to the right size. I don't really need a real big one, and this seemed to be the right size for me. In this doorway, we have some scrapers at the bottom, a card scraper that's held on by a magnet. Kind of one of the things that Mr. Studley didn't have that I had the advantage of using are magnets. I have magnets up here holding these rasps. I've covered it with some suede to kind of keep them from sliding, as well as not be able to mark things up. These are my grandfather's scissors. They're like an old tailor scissor, but they work really well, and I've used them for years, so I really like those. A nice pick, my spoke shaves, and then again, chisels that had to kind of move inside. This big chisel I like to use a lot with pairing. I have a video where I made the handle for this earlier, and I made a little holster for it to slide in here. And then I also have this big English style mortising chisel that needed a place to live. So I built a small holster for it, again, kind of held on with some magnets. The router planes at the top, and that's pretty much it. I do have some room for growth. These 2 little pigeonholes probably will get a drawer or something put in them. Right now I've got a hand vise and some extra card scrapers in here, but they need a little bit better organization here. So that's the future plan. I still can change things if I need to and grow with the box. So that's pretty much my box. I do have 2 things down here that aren't tools. I have a medallion from a National Scout Jamboree that my father and I attended, and his pilot's wings from World War II. So that's my toolbox. Most of the tool holders in this cabinet were made from scraps and cutoffs, so there's always a good reason to keep those scraps. So I hope you enjoyed this video and found some useful ideas, and thanks for stopping by.